for our secretarial training. I am proud to know this person and be a friend. I've known her for many a years, and I consider her a good friend. The person is Candy Druin. And I think we all know Candy. She is from Sierra Vista, San Pedro, from Division 8. She's been a past president, a club secretary. She's been a lieutenant governor 3 different times. She's also does our PR, and she's our Southwest District, works on the Southwest District newsletter. So when you get those, you know who's behind it all and doing the work. And she also serves on our foundation board. She's a board member for the Southwest District Foundation. So without further ado, I would like to hand over the training over to Candy Druin. Candy, the floor is yours.
Okay, the floor is mine. Okay. I'm going to put the speaker view on so when somebody talks, I can see their name and everything. Like Tony says, hey, Tony, you're going to do awesome next year. I'm looking forward to working with you next year. So, and Ken is my go-to guy, and you'll find that he's your go-to guy as well. Let me get my screen up here. Let's hope I did this right.
Yes. There it is.
Got it. Yay!
Hey, woo! See? The first hurdle is over. So, as Tony announced to you, that I have a lot of hats that I wear in the district because I feel that the more you volunteer, the happier you become. So, let me make sure I got this thing right. Okay, cool. And so today I'm going to talk to you about being a secretary. Let's see if it moves. Why is it? Okay. You are important to your club. Let me tell you something. You are the cornerstone of your club, and you should be proud that your club voted you in as secretary, because I imagine y'all had elections and all that kind of stuff, and that they know that they can count on you to make sure that you take care of your club business. So congratulations, you're a secretary. So now what? And that's what I'm here to talk to you tonight. Okay, by now, your lieutenant governor should have given you, or your president should have given you a leadership guide that looks just like this. If you haven't gotten it yet, you need to get a hold of your lieutenant governor and or your president. They should have it for you. All the clubs were given these books. This is going to be your go-to guide, because if for some reason you doze off in the middle of my presentation, you'll find the same information that I'm going to talk to you about tonight, so you'll be able to refer to it. Okay. My theory is you learn by doing. So if you make sure that you follow all the rules about being a secretary, it won't take you long, and you'll be successful as being a secretary for your club. We're going to cover the responsibilities of a secretary, the duties, files to keep, online reporting, bylaws, and important dates. This is the most important stuff that you're going to need to know. So we're going to do a little brief outlook on that leadership book. There's a section in there called Secretary, and this is your go-to area in that book. Before you take on the job of secretary, make sure the current secretary has put in your officers. That was supposed to be due June 1st. And most of you probably have had your name put in the hat, because this is probably how you got the link to come to this Cle training. You might also want to have a meeting with your current, the incoming president, kind of like we met Tony just now, and he kind of gave us a little overview of what he's planning on doing for his year a little bit. Your incoming president's going to have goals and they're going to have things that they're going to want you to do. Maybe not everything that's in this guidebook. Maybe some of it they want to take on, but most of it you need to get into a conversation with your officers before you get started. And then read through this leadership guide before your year starts. That way you can get familiar on what your jobs are going to entail. So first page in the secretary book, it's going to show you where your responsibilities lie. Communication is going to be the key to everything that you do, because guess what? You're the main communicator in your club. You're going to communicate with your presidents and officers and boards, Southwest District and Kiwanis International. A lot of information gets sent directly to you, to your PO, your box, your mailing box at home. You'll get information from KI about the children's fund and all that kind of stuff. If you don't get your leadership guide, you can go to Kiwanis.org, and they do have the leadership guide. You can download it for yourself, and I've done that myself. Also, your duties are to maintain your records. Get this a little bit smaller here because I can't see my screen. Official contact for the club. So like if you have a web page or something, usually they'll contact you, I'm sure of it, or your Facebook page, or if the Southwest District wants to get a hold of you, they will also will go directly to you. Your qualifications are willing to do your online reporting, just certain action items. So like when you're at your board meetings, you need to make sure that you have on record your motions that you passed, decisions that your board has passed, and you have that on record so that when you have an event, you show that and in your minutes and all that kind of stuff. It's also important to stay organized, and I have to tell you, I'm a little bit messy, but I do get my job done and everything. But you may not be perfect, but if you can stay organized, you'll get everything done. And the importance of deadlines is really, really important, especially when you're doing your monthly reports, because the Southwest District needs this information. And before you get started, you might want to talk to your current secretary and find out what things are working and what things aren't working in your club, and put a star about the things that are working right, and maybe circle the needs of the things that need to improve with your club. Okay. Also, before you get started, you might want to find out where your current secretary is holding the files for your club. You need to have these records in a nice stored spot. You have to have like 7 years worth of at least records, in case somebody wants to question you on activities that your club is doing. You'll have all your records. And also, who else has access? Like we have a club historian in our club, and she actually has a locked filing cabinet in an office in a secure area that has everything that we've ever done, newsletters, minutes for our board meetings and our foundation meetings, and monies that we spent, and our taxes and insurance. So it's important that you know where all that is. And there's a list on this page here that will show you the types of stuff that you want to keep. Again, I mentioned newsletters, but there's also invoices for things that you pay for, and annual reports, and your bylaws and all that. Okay, online reporting. We're going to go through this step by step. So for you that are beginning, it'll be an easy way to walk through it, and you'll get an idea of what you're looking to get into. If you're a current secretary, make sure you complete all your monthly reports, and make sure that they're all completed right now, and also encourage the new incoming secretary to do the same thing. And the reason why you want to do that is because your governor and lieutenant governor has access to these monthly reports. And you say, well, why do they have access to these monthly reports? Well, this is how they can tell the health of our district. You know, if your club is losing members, like 5 or 6 members a month, your governor might, or your lieutenant governor might get a hold of you and say, what's going on? Is there something I can do to help you? if you're generating a lot of new members, he's going to want to get a hold, or she's going to want to get a hold of you and say, hey, what are you doing that's really getting your membership tallies up and all this kind of stuff? Or you might get a notice saying, hey, you know, I noticed that you're not getting your monthly reports in. Can you step it up a little bit? You know, we need to know what's going on. Just recently, I got a call and for our club, and I was asked to get a hold of them because they hadn't paid their dues. The governor knew what was happening and said, can you get a hold of these people and say, hey, if you don't get your dues paid, you're going to lose your charter. That's pretty important. So this is why it's very important to keep up to date with your reporting. So your governor and lieutenant governor can also know what's happening in your division or your club. Then there's going to be a section. We're also going to make sure that you want to know about your bylaws. When was the last time somebody reviewed your bylaws? Bylaws cover things like if you have, and I'll talk to you a little bit more down the road on that because it is in a different section. I'm getting ahead of myself, and I apologize for that. But the forms that you're going to be required to know about are monthly reports, membership reporting and dues, your 990 tax form. That's going to keep you in good standing with the IRS. You don't want to forget that one because there is a fee for not getting that reporting. You don't want that one to happen. And then, of course, your annual report of elections is very important as well. Okay. And then finally, the last page here has dates that you're going to need to remember. It's important to remember that the 10th of each month, your reports are due. Hey, your first day is going to be October 1st. Ken has mentioned our timeline of when our years start. Approval of the budget. That's another thing that you can talk to your incoming president, treasurer, president-elect, get together with them and work out your budget for the year before you even get started so that on day one, when you have your first board meeting, you'll be able to approve your budget for the year. And of course, you have to have your rosters updated by October 10th because of that date. That is the bill that you're going to receive. So if you have 50 members like our club, and guess what? We didn't realize that 2 or 3 members were going to get knocked off. You're going to get charged for those 50 members if you don't get those members off or added on. I want to be positive. You know, you want to add them in real time. Also, October 31st is the deadline if you want to submit. How we came about, how this all this dues changing thing came about because somebody submitted a proposed amendment and resolution to Kiwanis International, and that's how it got probably voted in. If I'm talking right, Ken correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's how that handles. That's how it's handled. Also, February 15th is the deadline for that 990 tax form. And April 30th, you want to get your delegate certification for Kiwanis International and the convention. This year, the delegates were a little bit different. I think it was just different that we didn't have to fill them out. And then June 1st, of course, reporting your elections. So, like I said, it's a good time to talk to your current secretaries and also your incoming officers as well. So, before we go on, I wanted to ask, is there anybody that has any questions things that I've covered in there? Like I said, you'll be reading this book on your own. So, don't worry if some of this goes in one ear and out the other, or you fall asleep because I'm talking. You have a place to go look. Okay. Okay.
Candy,
so
this is Jerry Whaling.
Yes, Jerry.
I just want to know something, and for clarification for everybody, of the records that you have to keep annually,
Yes.
going back 7 years, can they be kept electronically, or do the written copies also have to be kept?
Well, you know, in the olden days, we had written copies, and we had a lot of that. I'm sure if you haven't, let me
Electronic
back up.
copies are legal.
Yes, electronic copies are legal because we are all going electronic, and a lot of this information that we're putting into our computers right now at the dashboard is stored in Kiwanis International. Things that you want to save are tangible things like your invoices and other, you know, your minutes for your board meeting and all that. If you have them on a disk, and I know some secretaries do, that's great too. You'll save on space. I mean, we have a storage shed, so we have boxes of our paperwork and all that kind of stuff. But yes, you can do that.
I'd like to ask a question. I'm with the Kiwanis Club of Carefree. Are you saying that we can destroy records that are 8 years old? 8 years and more, we only have to keep?
I'm just going by what they said that you need to keep. You know, it's like any records that you have. You want at least 7 years because they want to be able to go back 7 years. But you may want to keep an archival, maybe an archival copy, you know, history. That was another one of those things that you got some history information. You may want to keep all those things.
Candy, can I add some clarification?
If we've been a club for 25 years and we're sitting on boxes of old records, there's really no reason for us to keep that, right?
Candy, I'd like to help add some clarification here.
Yes, please.
Okay, by state law, minutes must be kept forever. Financial records can be destroyed within 7 years, but minutes and anything to do with the legal corporation of the club must be, and this is specific to, this is all 3 states, but I specifically looked this up for Arizona because I got this question recently. By state law, they must be kept in perpetuity.
Okay, that's excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken, for helping me out on that one. Yeah, because we actually do have a historian that has all our records, and we've been clubs for 35 years. So yeah, it can get, and it's all minutes, just like Ken said. Okay, so now we're gonna learn how to use the dashboard and get familiar with it. For some of you, this is gonna be not new to you, but for the newbies, this is important to know. The reason why I keep talking about making sure that your officers got put in properly June 1st is that when you go to sign in October 1st for your first time to go on, you won't be able to log in until you become officially your club secretary. If you're not registered with Kiwanis International as secretary, you will not be able to log in. Then you'll have to go back to your current secretary or and have them go in there and put that information in. Or you may have to get a hold of Kiwanis International if that secretary is no longer available. When you do, you notice up on top it says the first time there, set your password there, register. That's what you'll do if you're a new person. If you're regular, you should be able to get into it if you've already been listed and have already had a password. You may be asked to change your password. But this is what it's going to look like. You're going to have your email, you're going to have your password, and then you're going to press the submit button. And then you'll come to this page. You'll notice that there's a drop down there. You know, earlier Tony told you about the different hats that I wear in the district. I'm a key club advisor. So if I click on this, it will come down showing Tombstone Key Club. It will show a district level. It will also show my club level because I'm secretary of my club. So you'll want to click on your club secretary group, and you'll notice it has your club number and everything on it. And When you click on that, you'll come to a home page. Now, I did a screenshot on this because I wasn't sure how my internet was going to work and how going in and out of a live site would work. So what I did is did a screenshot in order to show you what it looks like when you get to this page. There's also icons there that you can't see, and I'll tell you a little bit about some of them as we need to. But you'll notice across the top, it has different sections: Secretary Dashboard, Member Administration, Monthly Report, Annual Report, and Finances. And then on the left-hand side, as you go down, you'll see that it has information about you. That will have your member's number and your current information, the members of your club, Secretary's Dashboard. That's the one you're going to use mostly. And then you got the district. Then in my case, I have a district dashboard where I can get in there, and there's other things because I'm a membership chair. There's membership tools. There's your club bylaws. When you go down there, you'll see that's where you'll make your changes to your bylaws if you need to, and also an education button. That one's interesting because, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that one later, but that's where you can actually do Cle training online, but right now they're redoing the site, so you can't get on there and do that right now.
Candy,
Yes.
David and I from Friendship Village. Can
Yes.
you explain who has access? Obviously, at various levels, others do. Can you just mention that in passing?
Well, I have heard my president say that they've been able to get on this page. Your assistant secretary, if you have assistant secretary signed in under, and you can add that later on if you want somebody to help you, you can add an assistant. They'll get the same message as you will. And I already told you earlier, the governor and lieutenant governor also have access to this report. Nobody else. Nobody else is allowed to get into your site unless you give them your password and your information. But that
Yes,
those are your info and your
Candy,
district, and of course Ken. Ken knows everything, right, Ken?
Candy, just
Yes.
the point is though, who in, for instance, club members have access not to what we do in reporting and reports, but they have their own information, for instance, that they can check, do they not?
Oh yes, you can sign in and you'll have your own information. For if you're an advisor, you can check in just like I just did, and you'll have that drop down thing, and your advisors have access to reports they have to do with their SLPs. If they're a member of the district or a lieutenant governor, they're going to have their own drop down section. So every club member can sign in, but they're only going to be limited to information that has to do with them. If they're not a part of the district, or they're not a secretary or an officer, they may only just have information about themselves, which has to do with maybe their membership number and their email information, and also access to education down below, the education portion of it. And I'm not sure if they'll have the roster in there for the rest of the club. I think that's distributed by the secretary, if I'm correct. Am I right, Ken? You think? He must
Yes,
be
so
listening to
everybody
Yeah, go ahead.
has level to their access. So at the club level, the club presidents, secretaries, and assistant secretaries can only see club level access. The lieutenant governor can see all the club activity and has access to everybody in their division. And then myself, the governor, so the governor, vice governor, governor-elect, immediate past governor, all have access to the district, everything in the district. So depending on how high up the food chain you are is who you get to view.
Yep, how much information you have. So as secretary, this is what you're going to be able to see. You're going to have your club ID number, which is why you see San Pedro Kiwanis there, and it starts with the K on there. It's going to tell you how many members you have in your club and if you've had net growth. That's important because that will help you govern your club. And if you make this report to your board meeting and say, oh, we have 50 members and we haven't had any gain, it might incite your board to come up with some kind of membership drive or something like that. Also, it has when you were chartered. That's important because sometimes you're asked that question. It has your division number. Because it just so happens I'm Division 8, but you also see the K25, that's our district. So I'm the Southwest District, Division 8. And then you could put your signature project on there and also your web page. You'll want to keep all this stuff updated all the time, especially like your projects and your website, email addresses and all that. So that's kind of something that you want to do monthly. If, you can address your club if they need to have changes on their addresses or something, you'll be able to do that. As you go down the page, you'll notice that you've got your growth management people and your PR. If they're registered on there, they will receive stuff from Kiwanis International. So you want to make sure that you have a marketing chair and a membership growth chair committee or something in there, and you could put at least 2 people for each one. Also, you'll notice on the right-hand side there, you could put your links for your Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, and other social medias. Then it goes down, as you can see, you start scrolling down, and on the left-hand side here, I'm pointing the arrows towards your SLPs. You'll notice that right now we don't have advisors for these, our K kids in our Builders Club right now because the school was closed down. But eventually you can put, and there's going to be like a little edit, a little pin that you can't see on here. But if you click on that or the plus button, you should be able to add a member as the advisor there. And as you can see down below on Douglas and down in Tombstone, we have the proper information. It shows the status of our background check. That's a requirement. If you don't have that, you will get a note saying, if you don't get your background check done, you're going to be taken off as an advisor. And they'll actually erase that person as an advisor. But also here on the right, you'll notice that this is where you'll put where you're meeting and what day of the week you're meeting and what time. You can put multiple times on there. You just click on it and follow the instructions, and it'll even generate a map down here. One thing I did notice when we changed our location, something you want to watch out for, when you go to Kiwanis.org and you punch in, let's say I want to find out what Kiwanis clubs are in Sierra Vista, Arizona. So I click in there. And all of a sudden, it only generated the Sierra Vista Morning Club, but it didn't say anything about San Pedro. Well, I called KI, and because when I switched it over, somehow it didn't lock into the system. And they made the correction. And then the next time I went into Kiwanis International and punched in to see what clubs are in my area, our name and our address came up where we met. So periodically, you may want to go to Kiwanis, the Kiwanis website and double check and make sure that your club is being announced. Because when somebody comes moving to your area and they start looking for a Kiwanis club, well, do you want them to join the morning club or do you want them to join the noon club? Or maybe your town doesn't have a club. So that might be a place to build the club. You know what I mean? So, and then as you continue down, you'll notice this little box here. This is Ken's little box here. If you write a note to Ken, it'll go to him. It will go to whoever the district secretary is. Right now, it's primarily Ken. So if you have a question or you're having troubles with your site, you can go to Ken, or I'm going to offer my services as well. you can always ask me as well if you want to help. The other good thing is you have some great resources here on the right-hand side of the screen. You'll see the links there. It will, if you don't get your book, you have a guidebook, but it'll actually, you click on that, it'll take you right to it. If you want to know something about background checks, youth protection, distinguished recognition from Kiwanis International. You know how we used to, you know, if you meet up with the governor and you do interclub and you do this and you do that, and you'll get awards from Kiwanis International. That's where you're going to find that at. And of course, you want to be right on top of logos and branding. Whenever you're doing any kind of advertising or writing letters to people, make sure your branding and your advertising is proper branding. And it'll show you how to get your logos updated. You don't want to have the bird cage anymore. So you may, if you still have that, you may want to work on getting an updated logo. Now that doesn't say you get rid of your nice, expensive velvet or whatever they're made out of flags, you know, that you've had for 35 years or so. But the other stuff, like correspondence and stuff, you want the proper logoing on it. Okay, we're okay right now so far? Good.
Hey, Candy, this
Yes.
is Karen. Can I jump in for
Yeah.
just 1 second to emphasize something that you just pointed out on the screen about the SLP, or let me define that, Service Leadership Program advisors.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know me, I am the Key Club District Administrator. And right now, 43% of the Key Clubs in the Southwest District do not have the Kiwanis advisor listed in the system, which means we have no way of communicating with the Kiwanis advisor. So I will plead with you guys, very first thing you do when you get access to the system on October 1st is log into your Secretary dashboard. And Candy, if you can scroll up and show them again where those SLP advisors are,
Yeah.
it makes our job so much easier and helps your Key Clubs and your other service leadership programs so much if you make an effort to make sure that you get those advisors listed. And as Candy said, usually the issue why they're not populating is because they haven't got their background check. Super easy to get that done. So that,
Yep.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Candy.
Yeah, and as we go down the line, I'm going to show you how to do that and how to make sure that your members get their background checks.
Yeah, so if they won't let you put a name in because they don't have their background check, don't get frustrated because it's a super easy process to get that done. And let's get those advisors in there so that they start getting correspondence about what's going on with their Key Clubs. And thank you very much, Candy.
Thank you. Thanks. That's a great question. Conversation. That's great. Okay. So again, I say, and I remember Ken announcing that only like a third of membership in the district had filed their elections by the 1st of June. And that makes it really hard because guess what? When he wants to generate an email out to all the new secretaries or any of the new officers coming in, he can't really do that because you're not listed in there. And, it's a good policy to make sure that that gets done. And you'll see that that there's a drop down of club election, and they'll actually ask you what year you're putting the dates in there for. And then these are our new officers for the new year, including our growth membership chairs and also our PR people. So make sure that that gets done. Toot sweet, please. Okay. Now, earlier I talked to you again about the bylaws. This is something that sometimes people forget to do or clubs forget to do. They get used to the same stuff. We meet at the same place, we do the same thing. But some of the changes that you might end up doing is like we increased our dues. We only charged $100 for a long, long time. Now we're up to $120. That's pretty low for most clubs, but we want to keep our dues low. So that's when you're going to want to go into your bylaws and change that, because there is a spot in there about your dues. Not the type of dues that Ken is talking about. You don't want to do that. Say that you're going to be bringing, you know, each month it's going to come down so many dollars. No, that's not what you're going to do. That's a given. That's something else. Also, you want to list on there how many days of the month that you meet, or do you only meet 2 days a month, or do you meet once a week and decide that you want one meeting to meet at nighttime? You want to put that in there. The other thing is you might have president-elect, and you might decide that you want a vice president, but you don't have it in there that you have a vice president. You add that in your bylaws. And you go through it, and you could take a copy to your board before you actually officially send it into Kiwanis International. And then it takes a little bit of time, and they'll get back to you and say your application has been approved. A portion of that bylaws in there is already pre-written up. It's all the rules for Kiwanis International. Then they got the fill in the blank portion of it. That's where you're going to be putting things in, like your dues, your officers, when you meet, and all that. The other stuff you can't change, but there is some stuff that you can change. So you might want to talk to your current secretary, or if you are a current secretary and it hasn't been checked with, you might want to check with that.
Andy,
Okay. Yes, sir.
Andy, it's always bothered me that many of our clubs have vice presidents. They are often people who continue on to be the president-elect and ultimately the president. And yet we cannot list those, going back to your report, we cannot list them as a club officer.
I noticed that myself, and I do not know why, but it is in your bylaws, and it will probably be in your minutes.
Yeah, but it doesn't help those people trained and developed, encouraging them to see the things that they need to see as club leaders. I suspect part of it goes back to when there was a lot of paper that had to circulate, but now it's essentially almost totally electronic. It should not be a particular burden for international, but it does not serve us well to have that important job not sharing in the communication.
And I'm not sure why they do it that way. And it may
That's an excellent point, David. I will be meeting with my fellow secretaries next Wednesday at the ELC in Salt Lake City. I will have the ear of our executive director, Stan Soderstrom, and I'll bring your concern to him because that is an excellent point.
Thank you, Tony.
That was Ken. Ken is our district secretary, and he'll make sure that gets done.
Sorry, Ken. Thank you.
I read. Okay, no problem. So the next portion of it, you'll notice that it says members, and admin. This is where you'll see all your activity for your membership. You have an Excel directory that you can download, which means you can change things, or you can delete the lines in it and just have the names of your members, and maybe make a checklist for when they come to a meeting. You could create your own file, and it will generate the names of all your members of your club. It'll have the names, address, phone numbers, and everything, but you can make adjustments on that. Or you can do a printable directory, which is just like what you see there. If you put pictures in, it will pop the pictures in. It will have the name, address, and phone number of each of your members, and it's something that you can print a directory out and give to your board members. Or if your membership gives out, with the permission of their membership, their information, you can actually print a printable directory. So everybody has everybody's phone number. So when they have a committee chair meeting, they can get a hold of these people. And of course, then you have the new member. When you click on that, there's going to be 2 sections in the new member. I forgot to put it in my demonstration, but there's 2 sections to it. One is the personal information, and the other portion of it is what kind of Kiwanian they're going to be, whether they're going to be a corporate or satellite member, or if they were a former member, or if they're a new member. That'll tell you how you're going to get charged for these members and all that kind of stuff. The other one is the membership list there. You can actually break down your roster by different sections. Like if you have 3 corporate members, you can click on corporate and it'll just bring up those corporate members. Same thing with the satellite or lifetime member or multiple. We have a club member that happens to be a member of more than one club. You can click on that and you'll know exactly which member is that person. Of course, the honorary member, you just usually get charged the magazine fee for them, but that's a good way to introduce somebody to your club and get information to them. Okay, if you move down here, you'll notice the little green dot down here about the background check. We talked about that earlier. There's actually a little icon there that's like a little letter, email letter. If you click on that, it will actually generate a letter stating, oh, it's time for you to get your youth protection background check renewed. You know, it has the expiration date on it. So you used to have a tangible copy that would be handed to the secretary to put on file. Now it's on your computer, and you'll know exactly when their youth protection, their background check needs to be renewed. And once it'll tell you that you sent them a letter, and you can personalize the little letter, but it has all the links and everything, and it's generated just for them, so that you don't want to forward that email to somebody else, because what it is going to be with that member, with their member ID on there, and it will generate and just go right to the site. They give their information, 3 minutes later, it's done. And next thing you know, you'll have a notice on there, it's been done, and it'll have a new expiration date, and they're good for 2 years. So that's how.
Hi, this is Kathy from Tempe. Can you say that again? So, because I have a member who's expired and I need to get them renewed.
Okay.
So
you go to that member. Yep. And there should be a little envelope there, or you just click on the expiration thing and it should pop up with it will generate a letter. It'll say, dear member, you need to renew your thing. And you can personalize it, like put the person's name and on there saying, hey, I don't know if you know this, but it's due right now. And if you can get this, and then there's nothing else for you to do. If they decide, go ahead.
Then what do they do when they get that letter? What do they have to do then?
Yeah, when they get that email, it's going to say, hey, Martha, you're, and I'm just using her because she's a good friend of mine. But anyway, Martha, you need to renew your thing. Click on the link down below. It will take it exactly to Sapphire, which is which is Quanta's international site. It'll ask them for their personal information, their credit card information, because it's what, $25 now.
Right.
And then when they complete that and their report is generated, it will pop up on your screen automatically and have a new expiration date on it. You'll know that they've done it. If they haven't answered that email, it will sit there and it'll say, you sent this letter on such and such a day and it hasn't been opened. So you can actually resend that letter again later on if for some reason they're not getting it. And if they're not getting it, you may want to check their email address, because that could be the reason why they're not getting it. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Good. Okay. So now the next portion of it is monthly reports. This is Ken's favorite page, I'm sure of it, because he likes to see these reports on time. Right, Ken? Yeah. On the 10th of every month. You want to make sure that you get this reports done. You'll have options to edit it. And you're going to have, later on, I'll show you about how to go through the report. And hopefully we can move on fast enough so everybody doesn't get too tired. You can review it. You can send a copy to your board members or anybody in your club that requests that monthly report. If you press the send button, it'll ask you who do you want it sent to, and it will send the report to your president. You could send it to your board members. You could send a copy to yourself. And then when it's all said and done, you'll have a little green dot next to it that says it's been submitted. And that's what you want to see on there. And of course, automatically, if you get all your monthly reports, then it'll automatically generate an annual report. And that's usually open on November 1st. And if you need to make some corrections, then you'll have to go through Kiwanis International, because you can make the changes, but they'll have to make the changes at their end. And then the next section will be our finances. This is where you'll find your club dues, your K-Kids and Builders Club renewal kits, new membership fees, and you have an option to print a hard copy and write a check, or you can pay online. And I would check that often, especially if you know that you're putting in a new member, or at the beginning of the year, you know when the dues are about ready to come in. Keep checking the finance portion of it, because it will tell you if you're 30 days late, 60 days late, or 90 days late. And if you don't pay your dues up, you can lose your charter, just so you know. Okay, also later on, I told you about education down there on the education button. Later on, they will have education. You could have actually went online and took this club leadership education, but you wouldn't have had somebody like me talking to you face to face. You would have Kiwanis International. So I don't know which is better, but I enjoyed talking to you. So I hope you, but you could utilize this club leadership thing later on when they get it all up to date. You can actually go through and do president, secretary, treasurer, and know what all your officers are doing. And you get a little certificate at the end. So it might be something that you might want to do later on. Okay, now we're going to get down to reporting, and hopefully we'll get done in a timely manner. This is important, because when I say to you, what are you going to do at the end of this thing? I want everybody to yell the word save, okay? I'm going to make sure that you understand the word save, because let me tell you something. I've done all my reports, forgot to save it, go back in there, find all the reports that I just filed, lost because of that. So what are we going to do at the end of each report? Save. Right.
Save.
Yay. Yay.
Hey,
Okay, cool. All right. So on your monthly reports, there's 4 sections in there. There's engagement, service, image, and financial. And then at the end of each section, you're going to want to do what? Save.
Save.
Okay, before you submit it, you're going to want to do that. Cool. Okay. And of course, it goes down the line. It shows you, you know, if you got a Facebook thing. It's all pretty well self-explanatory. And that's the thing. All you need to do is just read the questions and then just fill in the blanks. Some of the important questions that they change monthly sometimes. They might have something different, like in the area where have you been contacted with by a foundation district chair, you know, or a lieutenant governor, or the other could be the governor. If you press other, you're going to have a blank spot, and you could press in if you got visited by your governor. That would be Tony next year, right, Tony?
That's right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you were still awake. Okay. And then down there, then there's that other questions that during the year they might ask. And it's talking about a financial audit. Do you have somebody on the outside that will check your books and all that kind of stuff? And of course, it reminds you, did you file your 990? That was supposed to be done, you know, in this, you know, when you go down the list, I think it was in February. That's when it should have been filed. But it's going to ask you periodically, again, did you get it filed? Just to make sure that you remember to do that. And then at the very end of this page, you're going to do what?
Save.
There you go.
Hey,
Somebody's paying attention. Thank you. Cool.
Hey,
All right, guys. So then you got the same area there. You got the every time that you meet each individual one, you're gonna fill it out like if we met on the 14th of the month of June 14th. We had 15 members. We had one member that was a non-member, probably your speaker and stuff. We did have a program, and then you hit the magic word save. Okay, and you do that for each week that you're of the month that you meet in person, each individual time, and it goes down there. It also has spots in there for you know, it asks if you did your bylaws and how your membership, new members, and inner club might be another one that might be in there. Then we're going to move on to meaningful service. That's the next section. So after you save that previous section, it's going to move on. Now, if for some reason you get distracted and you can't finish the monthly report all at once, you can come back where you left off. So like if you did your engagement portion of it, but still waiting to get information for your service projects, you can go in there later on. You don't have to do all 4 at once, but you got to save the magic word. You got to save each time you leave, because if you leave and don't save, you are going to lose your information. So then you have all your service projects. It's got food disposition. You know, we gave out food. We have a literacy program. We did something with Beads of Courage. That's a, you know, it might be a signature project that's not on this list. Again, you got to save it before you go to the next page. And it keeps going on. It's just self-explanatory. Just fill everything out and just hit the save button.
Sandy, can I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
Now, once you do each section, it highlights up above showing that it has been completed.
Yes, it
And
does.
if-
There'll be
and
little
if-
blue boxes. There will be little blue boxes with a little check mark next to it, and you'll
Right.
know that that section is done.
And you
So
gotta
can-
watch, you have to watch that, because if you miss one little section or forget to answer something in there, it will not give you the blue highlight and the check mark. And that means there's something wrong that you did. So you have to go back in there and correct it.
Yep, because if it says required, like in the spread thing, and you don't put anything there, it's not gonna accept your report. So you just want to make sure that all the blanks are filled. That's all. It's just like filling out an application for a job. Make sure you fill in all the blanks. If it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply, but you put not apply. And then again, it goes down and it has all the stuff for your fundraising and your service projects and all that, and the money that you send. And as you can see, the little asterisks all there, they want to know something. It's either going to say 0 or it's going to have a money amount. And then, of course, on the bottom, you're going to have that magic word of save. And then finally, it'll tell you that you're doing all right, because like Jerry said, you'll have all the little blue boxes filled up with a little check mark on it. And it says right on there, once all 4 sections are completed, you will see a blue submit button. And when you see that button, which it didn't show up blue on my screen thing, but when you hit that button, that means you're done for the month. And you can raise your hands up in the air and say, woohoo, I did it. And that monkey's off your back, and everybody's happy at the district, and everybody's happy in international, and your club will be happy with you. Okay. So if for some reason after you
Karen?
I have a quick
Yes.
question.
Karen?
Yes. There was a gentleman first and then the gal second.
Yeah, this is Marco. So how long do you spend on doing this monthly report?
You know, depending on how active your club is, I don't think you're going to spend more than a half an hour. You know, it's depending on if you have all your information. If you wait till the end of the month to do all 4 weeks of maybe your attendance and all this other stuff, it'll take you longer. Or if you don't get it done for 3 months, it's going to take you a lot longer. But it shouldn't take you, it should take you under an hour to get all this done, especially if you keep it up. Then there was somebody else who had a question.
Yes, I'm Pam from the Kiwanis Club of Williams. We meet once a month on the third Wednesday, and you're saying that the report has to be in by the 10th. Can I put it in before it's approved by the club? Before the minutes are approved?
How it works is October 1st, you come into office. You're going to have that first meeting. It's not due until November 10th, the following month. So anything that happens in October.
So like we meet.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. But like we don't meet again until tomorrow. So tomorrow they're going to approve the minutes from May. So I've been trying to go ahead and submit them, but I don't know if you're supposed to submit them before they're approved or not.
Well, first of all, your minutes, your monthly reports, like I said, it is not due until the following month for the previous month. So you should have all your approvals done before you're filing your report and having it in by the 10th. So let's say October, you said the third week of the month you guys meet.
Okay.
And you
all right.
your minutes. Do you understand?
Okay, but see, we're going to meet tomorrow, and then we won't meet again until the 21st of July. So the 10th is gone in July. So
you don't even meet in June?
I'm like a month behind.
Candy.
Go ahead,
Your report, if you've done all the reports and you have your 4 blocks saying blue, always hit submit before the 10th. There's really nothing that the board has to approve on your minutes of a board meeting. This is for what you have done. So once you've filled in all the activities for the month and everything's blue and you can hit the submit button, submit it. You can always go back and change something if you need to.
And that brings me to my next point. If you've submitted your information and find out that you need to change something, you hit that help button right up here. And you can put in and make your changes there. And they'll make the changes at Kiwanis International. You could just, they're really friendly there. They'll help you out and say, hey, I made a mistake. I wanted to make a correction here and all that kind of stuff. It says right there, any information that's incorrect and needs to be modified, can please click the help button and have your club's records edited by a member service department. So you can call them up and say, hey, I made a mistake or something. I need something corrected.
Okay, Candy.
Yes.
If you're doing a monthly report, it does not ask you for your minutes. That does not go on the monthly report, Pam.
No.
And so it doesn't matter that you haven't, I know what you're saying is that your minutes are approved from the previous month, but that doesn't matter because that's not on the report.
No.
And if you make a mistake or you found out you need to add something from the month before, you can just go in and edit. Now, if you want to send out a new, save the new PDF, you don't have to get them to do it. What they need to do is change membership information and that kind of stuff for the help button. But if, as far as the reports go, if you need to just change something from even 2 months before you forgot to put an activity in, you can do that. I would definitely send it to the revised one to your lieutenant governor and say, hey, I forgot something.
Sure. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
Maybe this, I don't know, but you're meeting on the third week of the month. Your report that's filed July 10th is for June.
Exactly.
will all be there. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's for the month before. The 10th of July is when your June report goes in. The
Yes.
10th of August is when July goes in.
Thank you very much. You're right, Debbie.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is what's going to make you really happy. If you saved that magic word save, all your reports, and all your reports are done, you'll have all these little green dots alongside it. And at the end of the year, you'll have all your reports done. You'll be happy. Southwest District will be happy, and Kiwanis International will be happy. So that's a good thing. So if you have any questions later on down the road, let's say after we close this meeting up tonight, and you want to get a hold of me, you can, or Ken is available, I'm sure. But you can also come on Saturday, and we can readdress some of the items that we talked about again. And I appreciate everybody taking the time this evening to partake in it. I say congratulations. I think you'll enjoy being secretary. I know I have been. I've been secretary for the last 7 years in my club. I think it's because I'm a nosy Nelly. I like to know what's going on with my club. And believe me, the secretary knows everything. So, and I say that in a very, very kind way because I love my club and I like doing things for my club. And I hope you're going to have a great experience being secretary for your club. So with that being said, I will turn it back over. Is it Tony? We talked about this.
Thank you, Candy. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Candy. And you know, I'm very excited about the upcoming year because of one thing that we found out through the pandemic was that we can still get together through Zoom. And so what we're doing from this year, we were learning, and into next year is that we're coming out of this pandemic, but we're using technology to our advantage. And with that said, that's why we're doing the Cle training. We all decided on the leadership development team that it would be best that we consider your time, because time is precious, that we could go ahead and do these Cle trainings during the weeknights. And if you can't for some reason make it, or if you want to get onto another, say you want to do the sit through the president's one, you have a chance on Saturday. And so we'll do the breakout room. So we're trying to make it as convenient as possible, and we're trying to not go too long on everything. We're trying to hit all the spots that you have questions for. And so just a reminder, now tomorrow is going to be our Wednesday. We're partially through our week, and we're going to have Marco Cato from El Paso. He's going to lead our presentation for treasurer. So a lot of secretaries, that would be a good one to come in on. And just remember, you're not going to be sitting through 2 hours. As you see, we're moving right along. We guarantee it's going to be less than 2 hours each night. So this way here, we can plan our evenings. So we look forward to seeing you all. And just remember, you know, knowledge is good, but shared knowledge is powerful. And that's what we can all do for our clubs. So thank you very much, everybody. And if there's no other questions, we'll have a great night and enjoy your evening. So thank you for joining us.
Make sure you put your name.
Thank
Make
you.
sure you
Thank
put your
you.
name in there. Make sure you put your name in so you get credit.
Yes.
I forgot to say
Okay.
that.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye, Candy.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.